It's episode 4 of Sign Guy Star Trek Review. This week, where no man has gone before. Well, this is a weird one because it was the second pilot filmed after they changed cast and got the second chance, but it was the third episode aired in broadcast order. So, very different from the first few episodes of the show. This one had the original Doctor from the original pilot still in it. It had Mr. Scott, his first appearance, first time he was seen on TV, it was in the original pilot. No Lieutenant Uhura. Lieutenant Sulu was the astrophysicist, wasn't the helmsman, didn't fly the ship. There was another helmsman that eventually died in the episode. And then the navigator also dead in the episode. So it was a weird episode for a pilot. Uniforms were very different. It was shot very differently. And it was just kind of odd. And they put it third in the rotation for broadcast, which was an interesting choice. But basically this episode, they're on patrol. They find a probe from a ship 200 years lost in the galaxy, supposedly. And then the thing starts transmitting something. They discover that where they were at, that ship had been struck by a storm, and the captain was trying to find information on ESP, and then he self-destructed his ship. That's odd, they thought. And then the same storm hit, and it hit the navigator, and also the staff psychiatrist, apparently. Staff psychiatrist Dr. Danner, who was played by Sally Kellerman, who was the movie version of Hot Lips Houlihan. She sure was. She also did this episode of Star Trek. But basically the navigator, who apparently was buddy pals with Captain Kirk since their academy days, morphed into some sort of highly advanced ESP person. Could control objects with telekinesis, could control his heart rate and so forth just by thinking of it. So Spock's like, kill him now, let's kill him, let's just kill him. And Captain Kirk was like, that's kind of harsh. And Spock was like, well then strand him on a planet. Captain Kirk still thought it was harsh, but then he was like, well okay, let's do it. Let's just do it. They get down to the planet, they're trying to get parts from this space station that they never explained why it was there, but there was nobody on the planet, but yet they had this station there with the exact parts they needed to fix the warp drive, which is really odd. And then their guy Gary Mitchell hits the force field, and he starts morphing back to his normal state, which was odd because he could control the force field. You believed everything else they were doing. He could have just shut it off, but he didn't. He just zapped himself with the force field and went back to normal for like a split second. It was odd. But he ends up using telekinesis from yards and yards away to strangle the navigator with a electrical cord, of all things. Killed him right off. Killed off their helmsman. Then he knocked out Spock and Kirk. The doctor comes over, says he knocked me out too, but apparently I'm fine now. And he gave Captain Kirk a pill after Kirk had already woken up. Never explained what the pill was, but Kirk said, don't give Spock any pills until after I'm gone. Never explained what the pill was. Could have been vitamin D for all we know. It was just odd. But Kirk chases after him. And instead of pushing buttons like he did against Charlie X, he tries to shoot this guy with this phaser. It had no effect. So then he's like, hey, you there, psychiatrist, you do it. And she was like, well, okay, even though I'm on his side, because I have the same powers. And so she shoots him with lightning bolts out of her fingers. Ends up killing him. But not before he had created out of the thin blue air a tombstone for Captain Kirk with the initial R in it. He was James R. Kirk for that one episode before they changed it to T for no explanation. So pretty much that was the episode. Interesting things of note, of course, Sally Kellerman, like I said, the original Hot Lips Houlihan from the movie version of MASH. You had the first ever appearance of Mr. Scott, who was hired for the second pilot and then didn't appear at all in the first few episodes of the original series. There was a different yeoman. It wasn't Janice Rand that we've seen in the first few episodes. Completely different yeoman. Mr. Sulu had a completely different role. Very odd episode. Uniforms very different from what we saw. But it was the first appearance of the two-dimensional chess. They played that a lot, including the last episode I reviewed, Charlie X. This was just Kirk and Spock playing the two-dimensional chess. Mr. Spock on the verge of a tantrum over the game. Most emotional he got in the first few episodes. He was showing some emotion early on, and then just kind of curbed that as the season went on. It was a little bit odd. Got emotional over chess. Pretty much. That's it.